You've tuned into the REVUP podcast, broadcasting straight from Ducati Sanford in sunny central Florida. We're not just talking motorcycles, we're diving deep into the brilliant minds of business leaders, entrepreneurial pioneers, speed demons on the track, influential game changers, and downright rad people crushing this game called life. Let's rev up.
Welcome to the REVUP podcast. I am Nate, your host, and this is my co-host,
Ducati Dave.
And man, we're in a new environment here, so we're trying something new here. We're kind of we're actually in my office, which is pretty rad.
Yeah, it's really cool.
So, but we got a cool guest today. We got Luke from Garage Composites.
Yeah, welcome in, man.
Okay, welcome in, dude. So Luke is here visiting us for the week. He'll tell you his story and all, but like it's kind of a cool concept. He works for this consulting company that we are partnered with. Long story short, he comes in and kind of helps dealerships improve and kind of, you can probably tell us more about it. It's not as complicated as I'm probably going to make it sound.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Yeah. So I'm the manager of dealer services. So that means I've got two things now. I'm kind of in charge of the data input at the company. On top of that, I do, like you said, consulting. So the way that I put it is we kind of bring dealership owners and GMs together. They talk to each other. We're the ones who are helping moderate that conversation, pointing out what numbers are good numbers, bad numbers, how can you improve, how can you get better. That's one of the things we do. We also do management training academies. We bring in general managers, sales managers, service managers, just run through some systems and processes, do the same thing, get them talking to each other, solving each other's problems, just facilitating conversation and basing it around data, basing it around numbers, really what drives numbers to be better, what drives numbers to be worse. If you go to the Garage Composites website, it says, show us your numbers and we'll tell you your behaviors. And I love that. It's kind of our whole vibe.
That is actually cool. That's a really cool vibe.
It's super important. And we get a lot from the partnership, having you here in the store to be able to sit and shadow with key people in the store and kind of see how we do business, because you're not necessarily coming here and trying to show us what needs to be done. You're right here in a learning aspect this week.
Yeah, absolutely. So prior to working for Garage Composites, I was actually a high school math teacher.
Yeah,
that's how I got the job, was like the soft skills of the teaching, the numbers, all of that. I hadn't worked in powersports dealerships before. So getting the opportunity to come into some of our really good performing powersports dealers, see what they do, see how they operate, see their day-to-days, just to get that vibe, get that feel for what goes on, ask a ton of questions. I've been taking notes all week. Really a lot of knowledgeable people here. It's been an awesome experience for me, and getting to be able to ask all those questions has been really, really cool.
Yeah.
And is this your first podcast you've ever been on?
This is the first podcast I've ever been on.
Yeah, and on your shirt, as your guys, right, that have their podcast, which you got a chance to be on, right?
Yeah.
And we all listened to and we really thought it was a great podcast, but thank you for coming on. And it's true because, so you know how I do things, and everybody got their chance, and today's my chance, right? So, me, I overanalyze and overthink it, and I'm like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? And then Chris says yesterday to me, he goes, so what are you gonna do? You're gonna like smoke less? And then I go, I'll tell you what, I never change for anybody. And I go, the reason why I won't is because then I wouldn't be real, and he wouldn't be able to go back and say, I saw this guy, or this one of the parts or whatever. I smoke. It helps me step out for a second. We talked about that 15 seconds or whatever, just to kind of, and I come back in, I go, oh, I got to do this. We got to do this. Hey, did you guys do this? And it really works out. And so I've actually been kind of hanging out with him and getting to know him and stuff like that. And it was really cool. His dad's big into motorcycles and BMWs and stuff. And it shows how much of the family atmosphere that he grew up in. And I've been asking him questions, and he's like, no, man, everything's kind of, really cool. The vibe is cool. You got to meet some of our customers that come in on the regular. Learned a little bit about Miguel and how he, comes to and calls and is really a big part of our family. And he's been on our podcast. It is really a family atmosphere. And I wanted you to see that. I was like, I'm not going to fake anything. I'm not going to change how I am. So
that wasn't the point for him to come in and like us fake it.
Right.
We wanted him to come in and get a true exposure of how we operate, how we do business.
Right. And it was funny because, everybody, they want to straighten up and be, but to me, you don't get anything out of that. So I hope you've enjoyed yourself with us. And besides being, in the other places, on the Ducati side, and being around the bikes and getting to see our side of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've had an awesome time this entire experience. And it's funny, like you say, like you don't want it to be fake. So one of the things we do with our 20 club visits is we have dealership visits, and we always joke, like, don't prep the guys, like just tell them that people are coming and just have it be a normal day, because we want to see what your day-to-day looks like. We don't want to see kind of the show. We want to be able to help you improve. And if you really want to get your dealership, if you want eyes of other GMs and owners, you want to show the real experience. You want to show what like a real day looks like at those dealerships on those dealer visits. And Nate can definitely tell you that's the whole attitude on those dealer visits and seeing it. But being here has been awesome. Like you say, the Ducati side's the family, and I think the entire dealership, both Ducati side and the powersports side together, everyone here talks to each other. It's awesome to see like people walking by the parts desk and they're grabbing candy, but as they're grabbing candy, they're stopping and they're having a conversation with the parts guys. They're walking into the service department. Sales guys walking all the way across just to come and talk to Nick, your service manager, and just have a good time. It's really kind of it's cool. It's different. It's awesome to see. I was telling Brianna, your office manager, as we were going over some composite stuff, like I hear dealers say all the time, we're a family. And then to actually come in and look at this dealership and see, hey, you guys really are a family. It's really cool.
Yeah, I dig that. And that's because he lets us do that. Remember I was talking about, we do things different because we've all been around and we've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. And so all of us have had a chance to grab and bring our own personalities to the table. And it didn't start that way. We had to become that. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the cool thing is we've all meshed and figured out how we each work with each other. Some are more high maintenance. Some are less high maintenance or less maintenance. So which one? Both? Or I'm high maintenance. I know that.
Both.
But the one thing I can tell you is that everybody gets it done. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You can go ask a question, or if you need something, it's not like, all right, I'll get to it later. They do it right there. Chris will jump up. Brian will jump up. Nate, even Nate, when he gets involved, he jumps up and does it. It's not, we'll do it later or do something like that. And that's what I love about this. And it is growing to that other side. And he started saying it. He goes, you know what? When I was over there and talking to stuff like that, you can see how they're meshing and how they're doing it too.
Yeah. Well, it's building a culture inside the store. And, we wanted to do this. We wanted to set ourselves apart from the other stores out there. And we want this culture to be the same whether I'm here or not. So these guys have learned that.
I don't change for anybody. Whether you're here or not, we got a job to do and we want to have fun doing it. And you've seen how that comes out.
Yeah.
And that the people, they come in just to say hi.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Sandro came in today just to say hi and brought me a Zippo lighter that he had done. It says Ducati on it. Like, who does that?
Yeah.
You don't go to a lot of places you go to, let's go to cars, for instance. You go and you buy a car. 9 times out of 10, the only time you ever go back there is because you might have a service problem or a warranty problem, or you got to go do your service on your car. You're not stepping in there just to go say hi or to see what's there. You really don't. Mm-hmm. This is what this place is. After you buy, or even as you're buying, you come back a couple times, whatever.
Yeah, it's been awesome to just see like 3 or 4 customers before noon just show up to either have a conversation or a small issue, that as opposed to something that they could look up on YouTube or call you on the phone, but they'd rather stop in and ask that 5-second question that can get answered quickly. Yeah. Because it's an excuse for them to be here. Yeah. And they just want to come, they want to hang out, they want to talk. It's really cool, and it's a different environment. I want to say, I think that the culture in the store has been built from the word I hear like over and over from all the employees is ownership. Yeah. That they get a level of ownership, which is awesome. We were going to do a debrief at the end of the week, and that was going to be something I was going to tell you anyway, that everybody here says like, we have ownership over what we get to do. Like, it's not a top down, you shall do this, you shall do that. It's like, as long as we're not breaking the law and as long as we're making the business better, we kind of have the ability to do whatever we want to do. And it's a really, really cool thing to see.
Well, and you were telling us about that because of one of the hotels. You were like, the people that clean up and stuff like that, they have a certain amount. They don't have to go to a manager to ask, hey, can I do this? They have a certain amount of leeway to do things. And it's pretty cool that we have the same type of thing. My guys will come to me and they'll just kind of give me a little heads up or whatever. Yeah, man, let's do it. Let's make it happen. I know I can do something, but 2 heads are better than 1, right? So I always go to him and go, hey, man, is this cool? Bounce this off. Yeah, cool, when we're done. So I like being like that. I like being that we're all feel like we're a part of something.
For sure. So when you go, you've been visiting other stores. Yeah. You just did this at a Harley dealer, a month ago?
Yeah, in December, yeah.
Okay. I mean, what are you seeing in some of these other stores? I mean, do you feel like, what has that experience been like?
The other stores that I've gone to, again, as I'm like shadowing and learning, they're sending me to like what they know are really good dealerships. And it's similar where like every employee is bought in, every employee, like it's a family atmosphere. Like everyone knows each other, they talk to each other. Some of the dealer visits I've been on, there's definitely like some butting heads that exist in certain departments and things like that. And you hear it in the 20 clubs. You can hear from the owners, you can hear from the GMs, but when you can get to the level of culture, I mean, if you listen to my owner's podcast, Garage Cast, and they'll talk about how this year is the year of culture and building that up and trying to put that right team in place. And, you know, it takes years to get to that point, and it takes a long time to build and create the right team. But when you see the people who are like getting it and like meshing, it really means something. And you can see that start to come through in stores when they find that right person or they find that right fit. It's awesome.
Yeah, it takes time to build that too.
Yeah.
It's really hard to build culture.
It is, because you either have it or you don't. The vibe, it comes down to the people around and trying to, you got to figure out what you want to do, right? You got to figure out what kind of culture are you going to build. You know, is it towards this, towards that? The way we did it for everybody. We didn't go towards just, you know, sport bikes, just hypermoto. You know what I mean? We did it for everybody. So everybody's welcome. And like we have guys who ride the cruisers, the Diablos to the Multistradas to the sport bikes, all on our rides. Mm-hmm. So it's not a specific. But then we're going to set up some different ones like that where we can do like a night out on Multistradas, right? And go camping.
One thing that we really focused on, you know, we focused on the lady riders, kind of building a culture around that and bringing them in. And you actually did that, with the Ducati customer specifically.
Yeah, in the club, we have more and more growing. Danny, actually, the one you met today, his wife, he got the bike for his wife. Well, him and his wife did it together. And so he already had a Ducati, and he got her the B2 so that she could be a part of that. Because he never knew that we existed. Mm-hmm. He had an older Ducati, and now he's a part of it. His wife's going to be a part of it. So that's what we really wanted to do, is make it to where it's not just, you know, one specific thing. Because it is hard to kind of pinpoint, what should we do? You know, but there's parts of it that we gravitate to, build it up, then go to the next one. You know what I mean? So it's fun.
But, the one other thing, you know, with culture was I really focused on female staff too.
Mm-hmm.
So I love working with the ladies. There's super productive, just professional, just get things done. So when I had the opportunity to bring in a gal, Lexi, to work at our parts counter, who's a badass, who is amazing. And then I have Brianna in the office, who's like my right hand.
Mm-hmm. And she rides motorcycles.
Yep. And then we have Karen, who's running our CRM and our lead systems there. And Alicia, our warranty administrator. I mean,
and they ride, and they're a part of it.
And then Christina, our videographer that comes up. I mean, it's just, they're a part of what we do here. And that was something that just naturally happened. I went after that.
Right.
And I really wanted to get more females inside the store.
Right.
And it's worked really well.
It can't always be, you know, a guy's perspective. We need help. We need to know the different things about, you know, where should we go? What type of clothing should we get? What can you help us out with that makes more ladies come in and be comfortable? Mm-hmm. And I really focus that on my side. We speak to a lot of ladies that have bought from us and that have come in, even haven't bought from us, who says, man, you never made me feel like creeped out, weird, uncomfortable, anything like that. And that's a hard thing to do, because and a lot of them will tell us that when they come in, they focus on the husband or the boyfriend, and they're not talking to her, and she's here to get the bike. And so when they tell us who's looking, you know, when we ask the questions and they tell us, we focus on that person. And the ladies really do feel comfortable here. And we want that. We always want everybody to feel comfortable here. But it's hard to, you know, some people are shy. Some people are, you know, so you got to build that up, you know.
And it's all about increasing ridership. You know, you want to, like, we always talk about how 3% of the market is currently who uses the products that are under this roof. And it's like, how can we expand that? And where are some areas that, hey, we have lots of opportunity for growth? And there's an entire segment right there that
people don't pay attention to.
Yeah.
They really don't. And that's dumb.
Yeah. And certain stores do better with it. Certain stores do worse with it. And it really is like building that environment of what can you do to make everyone feel comfortable inside your doors, not just the people who are already riding or the people who've been doing this, like they've been on dirt bikes since they were 3. Right. What can you do to make the new customer, the person who's always wanted to do it, but they're scared for whatever reason, whether that be intimidated by the staff, intimidated by the product,
Right.
Not knowing what questions to ask. What can you do to make everyone who walks in your doors feel comfortable, feel welcome, and ready to get on 2 wheels, 4 wheels, whatever the product is.
Yeah.
But get them excited and get that emotion going to make them like, get them on the ether, make them feel really happy to have this and get out there and ride.
That emotion. Absolutely. The emotion is everything. We've been talking about it the whole time. You have to, you're selling yourself. You're selling everybody can buy, or anybody can buy something from anywhere. But having them to be able to get into the moment and have that emotion that they want to be able to buy from you or buy, it's not even about a transaction. It's about that feeling, about them being a part of something. And that's, not everybody can do it, but once you get it and you teach the next person, it works. It really does.
Absolutely. So do you ride bikes?
So I just started riding. It was something that, so my dad actually rode in his 20s and 30s. The second he married my mom, bikes went in the garage.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. And then, so when I got the job, like I'd never ridden before. I'd known my dad was a big BMW guy. Loved the boxer motor. He was on all the R series. We actually had 2 motorcycles that sat in the garage until I was 18, and they finally got sold then. I just bought a KLR 650 in November.
Congrats.
I did the basic riders course over the summer. I live in Milwaukee, so I have not gotten to actually take it out and ride it. I'm still brand new to it, but I never thought I was going to buy it. I took the basic riders course as a way of like, all right, I'm in the industry now. I need to know how to do this. And the second that I came out of a turn and had to rev up to 20 miles an hour, I was like, this is really cool. And I think I'm going to have to buy one of these at some point. And I got lucky enough to work with a dealer, and they had a used KLR that was an absolute sweetheart deal, and I was able to get it.
Nice.
So I'm excited for, got a couple trips coming up, but when I'm finally back home, I'll be able to take it out. And I was telling Dave how, my dad told me the thing is you have to go out every single day. So I'm going to come up with reasons to go to the grocery store so that way I can get that 15 minutes on the bike and just get used to everything on it. And,
seat time.
Seat time. Absolutely.
Important. Because I offered him a test ride. I go, you want to go for a ride in Ducati? And he's like, and he was so honest. He's like, I would love to, but I'm still new to it. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And then we started talking. He told me about that. And I was like, wow. So next time he comes back, I promise you a test ride. Yeah. All right. So we go out for a ride.
Yeah. If I did a test ride right now, Tony would be like, what's this direct costs and sales? And Nate could be like, that's your guy dropping the bike.
We bought a Ducati. We would. But you know what, though? The coolest thing is that you weren't afraid to say that. We do have a lot of people that come in and they want to save face. They want to feel like they're, you know what I mean? And you don't have to do that with us. Be honest. Listen, if you're not comfortable yet, or if you're, you know what I mean? We'll deliver the bike to your house. I don't want you to ever, or anybody ever come in and then be afraid to ask us questions and then something happen. You know what I mean? So that was big of you to say that, because I immediately thought you rode your whole life the way you carry yourself, the way you know that your way around a dealership. So to me, that was natural. So I really didn't know that you didn't ride. That's good until now.
It's just like getting into it really quickly. Like I will admit, I'm like very much into the bikes.
Yeah.
The power sports side is definitely something that interests me and I want to get into it, but bikes is by far the easiest segment to get into. You don't need a trailer. You don't need to have trails. You don't need land. Like 2 wheels, you can take it out on any road, right up. You can drive it from the dealership. And again, you talk about how much it's the emotion. My dad having rode, getting into this industry now, I'm constantly talking to him about motorcycles. It's like the first thing we're talking about.
An amazing connection.
And then I realize I'm talking specifically about motorcycles, but it doesn't really matter. It's all the same thing, whether it's boats, whether it's side-by-sides, ATVs, it's that emotional connection and that the bond that you make with the people you do it with. So
yeah, it's huge.
And my dad's a big Euro bike guy, so I'm constantly, I've learned so much about motorcycles of I can now look and be like, oh, that's a cafe racer. Oh, that's a bobber. That has the bobber style seat. I know what that is. Yeah. So I feel like I kind of give off that air just because I've done so much research I'm constantly on OEM websites of okay, here's my list of all the bikes I want to own at some point in my life. I know my Sam Dantzler, I think he's on bike 107 or 109.
What?
I don't know if I'm going to get to his level, but I know that my list is just as long as his at this point.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So when you, Are you going to another dealer after this, or what's your plan?
Don't have any dealers scheduled right now. I'm moving into the manager of dealer services role. We have a woman who works at our company named Sharon. She's our longest standing employee.
Nice.
Sharon rocks.
Sharon absolutely rocks. I am trying to fill the biggest shoes in the company by far.
Wow.
When you talk about somebody who can provide customer service and knows what they're doing, there's nobody like Sharon. So taking some time to really figure out that role. And I'll be doing other things. I still moderate 220 clubs, hopefully in line to take over a couple of those as well. I still work with our management training academies. But there will be other dealers that as time allows, I'll be going in to visit and check out, see what they do, see their day-to-day operations. And I love getting this opportunity. It's funny, I was just talking to Danny and he was asking like, oh, how long are you here through? And I was like, well, I'm going to be here through Saturday. Oh, all 6 days? Yeah, and yeah, a 6-day week can be tough sometimes, but this is an opportunity to learn. This is an opportunity to grow. And I'm just going to focus on the positives of, hey, it's really cool to come in and you guys are awesome. And it was the same experience I had at the Harley dealership I went to where I never felt like an outsider. Like from day one on, it was, hey, welcome here. Like we're going to talk to you. We're not going to give you a cold shoulder. It's not like you're just some stranger here.
Right.
We're going to find out. We're going to get to know who you are. And it's been an awesome experience. It's been great.
I think everybody should do this with you. I really do. With what you guys are doing is so smart and so innovative because there are dealers that are not doing that well or whatever that could use that little bit of guidance and stuff like that. Because if we're surviving and we're thriving and they can too, it just helps our community, like the people around us.
And everyone is successful.
Yeah.
It just breeds more success.
And even beyond dealerships, when I first started this job, I was telling you how I used to go to a gym and the gym owner, I was like, this guy's awesome. And there are a lot of really good things he does, but he's got some opportunities for improvement.
Right.
And I bet you if he went and talked to other gym owners, he would have the opportunity. Even the barber shop I go to, I love my barber shop and I don't know their numbers. I don't know all that stuff, but I'm sure if they went and talked to other barbers, they would be able to learn, they'd be able to grow. And it's just one of those things where, hey, you can't really just go talk to the guy down the street because you don't want to talk directly to your competition. But when you get together and you talk and you can challenge each other and grow, I was always in sports throughout high school and college. And a lot of improvement is, hey, you're around guys who are driven and they want to get better.
And that's how you learn.
That's how you learn.
Push yourself.
You ask for advice. You learn how do you approach this workout? Here's how I approach that workout. And you learn from each other. And then you push each other because you want to beat each other too.
Correct.
And it's a friendly. So I was a collegiate rower, and the joke was always people say rowing is the greatest team sport. And one coach always said, it's the greatest team sport at the end of the season when you're finally all put in the same boat. But throughout the rest of the time, you're trying to kick each other's ass.
Right,
and that's the goal.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's cool.
I do the same thing whenever I go into any other business. I'm always analyzing.
Mm-hmm.
You brought up the barber shop. I went into my barber. I love my barber. I've been with him for years. I go in there and I'm like, buddy, you know what? You give this awesome experience. You have the coolest shop in town. Man, I don't think you're charging enough for haircuts.
Mm-hmm.
I think you should charge a little bit more. And at the same time, I'm like,
wait, what am I doing?
I'm just got to raise my prices.
Yeah.
And he said, oh, I could never do that, man. I don't know if I could raise my prices like that. And sure as shit, the next time I come back in, price went up. And he says,
or was it just you?
No. He's like, I raised all my prices. My other barbers raised their prices. No one flinched, and it's been so helpful to us. We've been able to, have a little more, money and time, and it's just totally improved. So, it was like I was able to help this guy, give him some feedback that he was able to use.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I do the same thing. I go in, no matter what it is, I'm like, hey, you think about doing this or that? And it's funny.
It's every retail store I go into now, my friends hate it because I walk out and I'm like, I didn't get greeted.
Yeah.
They didn't ask me a single personal question. They just the second I said I'm browsing, they just left me alone. Or I'll walk, they never greeted. It drives my friends crazy because I'm analyzing
I do the same thing.
every sales experience. But that's at the same time how I've gotten better at this job of
by going to other places.
And learning that. And it's I encourage anyone who works in the power sports industry, don't have your business eyes only open when you're in another power sports shop. Have your business eyes open everywhere that you go into, because you learn so much from different things. I know that I'm going to be training on appointment setting in the future, and I've grabbed some screenshots from texts I've gotten from my barber of this is how they go through confirming appointments. And I know that I get a text first, and then I get an email, and then within 2 hours, if I haven't confirmed it on one of those, I'm getting a phone call. And
That's
So it's funny when I come into work on Friday, every morning basically, I go to Karen and I say, it used to be how many appointments we got on the board, and so she'll say how many appointments. I'm like, how many confirmed appointments? So it's like you're taking that extra step now just to make sure, because it's funny. A lot of people will set an appointment and then just won't show up. I want to know that we actually called, confirmed, and it's a solid appointment. Just like when you go to the dentist, those appointments are typically pretty solid. Or a doctor's appointment.
You're
going to go in there and you're going to get, you're showing up to your doctor's appointment. So I look at our appointment setting the same way. I want firm set appointments. If something seems shaky, identify it and let's reschedule or move on or whatever. But I want to know when I'm asking for appointments, I want to know confirmed real deal appointments.
And if it's not confirmed, have we texted them? Have we called them? Have we emailed them? What have we done to reach out? Like, have we sent a video to see, hey, this is my face. I just want to remind you, we're here, and I want to see your face come in. So
it's really cool. And to go back, how I do the same thing when I walk in, it's the experience. It's that when I go somewhere, if they walk in, same thing, I'm just browsing and they don't say another word, or if they just, you know what I mean? I start going, damn, I'm not coming back here. But remember what I said, sometimes you got to give it a second chance, right? Because that somebody could have had a bad day or whatever. And then you go back in and say, hey, I remember you. You were here and you were looking, I have these one bands or, whatever. And I was like, oh, wow. So sometimes that second chance, you know what I mean? That is a winner, because, we're all human. We all have good days and bad days. So I think that a lot of people forget about, they want an experience, which we give them. But you also got to remember that they're human, and not all the time are you always on. Right? It's hard to be on all the time.
Oh, it's by far, I understand it from the salesman side. The same thing I had when I was a teacher was, hey, if you want to identify people who can spot a bad day from a mile away, it is a 15-year-old who does not want to learn math.
Correct.
They will pick up on your bad attitude. They will point it out and they will drive it home, and they're going to make that day worse. So you always had, it did not matter what type of day I had. It didn't, you had to put on the face. And sometimes it's hard. You're a human. Sometimes that face comes down. And again, a 15-year-old who doesn't want to learn math is going to cut you to the bone. But
I've noticed that in my whole life and my career is if my managers or our managers, if they came in and they were in a pissy mood, the whole day went like that. And they, you go try to be, you're trying to be yourself, trying to sell something. You walk up and they're like, what does he want? And you're like, oh God. And then your day just shoots down, your productivity shoots down, your morale shoots down, everybody else around. So when we come in, I'm a big fan of our Friday meetings, because I love you getting everybody riled up, because everybody comes in, they're tired. And I know that you want to see more out of the managers of talking and stuff like that. But we get a lot of our inspiration from you. You know what I mean? And I was thinking about that the other day when you and I were talking about it. And I was like, if you notice, by the end of the Friday meeting, everybody's going, right? But when we first get there, or when everybody gets there, they're all like this. And all of a sudden, hey, this is what we got going on. This is what's going on. How was your week, or how was your month, whatever, right? And you'll see them. Everybody starts pepping up. Then by the end, everybody's talking. So I was thinking about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, in any type of meeting like that, I mean, usually the room's a little cold in the sun. You got to break the ice down. You got to, but
you're our icebreaker.
Yeah, so we gotta break it down, and we gotta bring the hype. And that's what we believe in. In that, bringing that energy. Because when you bring energy, that brings emotion, and then motion. Right? And that's when everyone's on the gas, and we're here to sell fun and do what we do. So that's kind of how we do it.
And it's just it's so true that whatever attitude you're in, it just transfers so easily. And I look at, my dad is by far, he's my role model. He's my biggest influence in life. He's just one of those guys. He is happy-go-lucky. It's hard not to have a conversation with him and not come out with a smile. And I was talking to him about it one day, and he's like, when I was coming out of high school, I just decided I'm going to be happy. And from that moment on, I've just been happy. And I was like, what are you talking about?
There's a switch for that?
And it's been a process, but there really is. When you just decide, hey, I'm going to be happy. And this is going to sound so lame. One of my favorite quotes ever, this is my biggest motivational quote. It's from the movie Dodgeball. And it's when Justin Long is talking about his experience where he gets flattened at the cheerleading tryout. And Vince Vaughn says to him, hey, one day you'll laugh about this. I'm laughing already. And so for me, like every time I'm going through like a rough moment or something that I deal with, like I will say the Orlando airport is terrible. I was just like, I had an awful experience getting off the plane, but like I had to like put that in my mind of like, one day I'm going to laugh about this.
Yeah.
And this is like, right now I'm struggling and this is frustrating, but one day I'm going to laugh.
Yep.
And like, this is all just growth.
It won't be till you get back home. But
it won't be until
you got to go back through it.
It won't be until I'm
watching
past Orlando again. Yeah. But it's like, I know that like, hey, this is just a growth experience. Yeah. And it's just like, hey, this is 6 days at a dealership, but it's 6 days that I get that my company is investing in me. They're taking the time to believe in me. I've got great owners. I've told them I won't take a bullet for them because age before beauty, I'll help them hide a body if they needed it because like they've taken that time to invest and like you got to count your blessings where they are. Yeah. And like there was one time in college somebody called me Mr. Silver Linings because they were talking about like they said, hey, you're going to have practice at 5 a.m. And my response was, hey, at least there's no traffic. Right. Like, that was my first thought. Was
that's great.
I got to get up at 4:15, but hey, I don't have traffic. Yeah. Like, if you look for the positive, it makes it a little bit easier to go through what you have to go through at times.
Yeah. And that's hard because not everybody has that. And it takes, like, I grew up rough and in a rough area, and you know what I mean? And people being happy and we didn't know what that was, you know what I mean? Because you didn't grow up that way. It was all mean mugging and, different. So it was weird in my life. I went through phases that you look back at and I laugh at now, right? But it went from me being angry and mad,
tough guy,
to listening and learning, and then to where when I grab that door, I'm happy, I'm doing my thing. But now I'm trying to do what you're saying, like to find that switch to where I'm always happy. I'm believe it or not, I'm happy when we're doing a lot of stuff. Yeah. I'm not happy when we're sitting there and I'm going, what's going on? Why don't we have anything going on? And it's so weird. I got to figure out that switch that can keep me happy like that too. Because to me, I want to make people happy by them buying bikes and being a part of us and stuff like that. So I got to find that on switch all the time. Mm-hmm. That'll kill him.
And it's a constant work. I wish I could say that I had that on switch like my dad has, but at the same time, it's like,
I'm blessed. That's amazing.
Oh my God. It was like a mind blowing, like, what do you mean you just chose it? And it really is like, sometimes it even is like for 3 hours I complained. And then I have to look back on those 3 hours and be like, okay, wait, what can I pull out of this?
Yeah.
What were the good things that came out? And it's a slow process, but I'm getting there of like, hey, every single moment, like I'm looking for the positive of this and I'm not just focused.
Yeah.
It's easy to focus on the negative.
Yeah.
Like that's human, that's natural human thing.
We do it a lot. And he tries to keep us like positive too. Cause we get down on ourselves because we don't want to disappoint or, not be able to perform. So we're down on ourselves, and he's like, nah, man, don't worry about it. We'll get through the next one. I'm like, holy shit, you're right. I'm sorry.
We say PMA, positive mental attitude.
Yeah.
That's kind of like, that's our mantra around here.
And it works. It really does. We go above and beyond for everybody that we do things around. And it helps us. I think me doing this has helped me in life be better to my kids, my wife, like just be a better person all around. Because before I would never say hi to somebody when you walk by. Now I'm walking at the mall and somebody gets close. I'm like, hey, how are you? And they're like, what? Oh, hi. It's so weird because we have to greet everybody that walks in the store. Sometimes I can't turn it off. I walk inside Circle K and I go, hey, how are you? And they're opening the door for me. They're looking at me like I'm crazy.
And I think it helps that, like, again, when you guys have that positive mental attitude, PMA, and in the dealership, like, if one person walks in with a bad attitude, they're walking into a group of 42 other people that have a positive attitude. So it's like an instant, why am I upset?
Right.
Like, immediately they gave me a hard time and they gave me a joke. Like they just joked with me. I just saw a smile on one of my coworkers, who's one of my friends, who's one of my family's faces. Like, why am I in this bad mood? Let me turn it around. Yeah. And then if it is a really tough situation, you have people who, hey, they're going to help you by being positive and being that shoulder to cry on, but a positive shoulder to cry on, and they're to help you and support you. So I think that's like, again, it takes time to build like culture and get there. But when you have that of, hey, you could probably have 4 or 5 employees who walk in a bad mood, but it's going to turn around pretty quickly because everyone else, they have that positive mental attitude.
That's right.
Awesome. Well, we really appreciate you coming on and chatting with us. This was kind of like an impromptu thing, but man, the fact that you dropped a Dodgeball quote for
you won me over right there.
So good job there. But do you have any parting words or anything you want to share with our guests?
Oh, no. This has been absolutely awesome. Like, I appreciate you guys letting me come in and spend an entire week here. I think it's tough for some business owners and workers to hey, we're going to let this stranger in. We're going to show this stranger our secret sauce and show them what we're all about. And I realize that can be a difficult thing, but I've been welcomed the entire time. I felt great. Like, it's been really easy to find the positives this week. Like, every morning when I'm at the gym, I'm not dreading anything. It's like, hey, I get to go back in. I'm excited. I'm going to be a little sad when I have to fly out Sunday morning because it's like, this is a great group of people. I've enjoyed every conversation I've had. Everyone here is great, and it's really cool. It's cool to see what you've built and what exists here. And I can see why. I can see why Tony was like, I'm sending you here because I want you to see what really good looks like. I want you to see these processes. That's awesome. So I appreciate this opportunity.
Thanks for doing this with us for like that quick. So you didn't even hesitate because you were like, "Did you ask him?" I go, "No, it's going to kind of just." And I go, "Hey, you want to do a podcast?" You go, "Yeah, sure."
Awesome.
That's
cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, thank you everyone for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. You can catch us on Apple and Spotify and YouTube. We appreciate you guys checking us out. Have an awesome day.
And don't forget, rev up.
Rev up.